John and I have been patiently waiting for all of you.
And I've
just found out where he lives, I found out a lot about you, John. Okay, so this is John Porter. How long have you been with Matsuura now?
I've only been with the company a couple of months.
Oh, a couple of months.
A new hire, yeah.
Right, this is really exciting. So before we're going to have a tour of the additive side of Matsuura now, and I've been to their facility, it's incredible. I'll tell you more about it in a few moments' time. But before then, you're a new hire for Matsuura. Tell me why, because your background is so important here.
Well, I've had the benefit of being in the additive manufacturing sector for about 25 plus years now. So it goes all the way back to the late 90s when I was involved with James Dyson in the beginning of his business.
That's a big brand.
It's a reasonably large brand nowadays, yeah.
Yes.
And he was a very early adopter of 3D printing, but it's allowed me a sort of a gateway into the technology, and it's allowed me to stay in this sector for most of my career. And I've kind of moved into the specialism of metal 3D printing, but I've been asked to join the Matsuura business to really look at their longer-term strategic growth in this sector, because they've already made fantastic headroads into supporting and supplying product into the additive manufacturing sector here in the UK, and I think they've taken a market lead with some of the products they're selling, and it's fantastic. But I think what they recognise is that my background comes with a network, so they've essentially bought into that network, which is I'm very happy to do, because they also recognise that there are a lot of sectors and a lot of potential customers that need a little bit more nurturing, need a little bit more time to make a decision. There is risk involved in taking on additive manufacturing, and everybody understands that.
Yes.
So they need the benefit of my experience and the team's experience and the application team's experience to really capitalise on the asset they're about to invest in, understand the technology, understand the benefits, and really make the right decision for them as a business. Because what I've also seen in this sector is if you supply incorrectly, bad news travels fast.
Yes.
So if you have an adopter of the technology that hasn't been well briefed, hasn't been well trained, doesn't really understand the benefit of what they're buying, they can make mistakes.
In my opinion, what you've just taught me over the last 10 minutes, I think you're going to influence people quite heavily into this because of your knowledge and experience. Can I just ask, what is it that you feel industry needs to know about additive? Because sometimes it's a bit of confidence, would you agree or not?
It's been a bit of confidence, absolutely. The industry has been very long on promise. There's been a lot of hype around the technology. There's been a lot of suggestion about what it can achieve, but in reality, there's been a lot of instances where it's ultimately been a bit of a solution chasing a problem or trying to identify a problem. And what we're finding now, certainly within the group of the Matsuura products, is that we're getting there. We're really very close now to offering this as a solution for mass manufacturing. And that really has always been the ultimate promise of this technology.
Because a lot of people thought of it as, how would we describe it, like a prototype? Or exactly that. We're on the same page. And then now what you're saying is, it's the users, they're producing a product that goes out to market, because we've done case studies with Matsuura, with the HP range, and we'll talk about a few of the ranges in a moment, but it's the end user product that's happening now. Is that what's happening?
It is. It's very symptomatic of what's gone in the past, is that the process will produce a lot of parts. But parts are only part of the story. We talk about products, they're much more useful, they're much more saleable. But the technology has only produced a part that ultimately needs more work, needs more post-processing, it needs fine tolerancing to make it perform as it should. But we're now moving into a space, I know you're going to speak to my colleague Joe in a little while, because we've got opportunity here with new technologies that actually produce parts that you can simply put in a bag and sell. Yes,
and we've seen that on camera, proven.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to take you down the stand now, because you've got some components here, but materials-wise, what are we talking about? Because we mentioned HP, but there's other brands that you represent, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm going to talk to you now about desktop metal.
Okay.
It's still a bit of a mystery to some people, but in reality, you can 3D print metal. It's still something that people haven't conceptually understood.
Yes.
But again, there's a lot of history in that. What we have here is a solution made by Desktop Metal.
Right.
You could argue this is a sort of a gateway to this technology. In terms of the environment this machine runs in, it's very safe, it's very easy to manage, it's very easy to have from a health and safety perspective, and to run in you don't need to necessarily run in a laboratory with all of the typical sort of restraints of powder management and all the other troublesome parts that come with the metal business.
Yeah, because, people don't, obviously, we're in manufacturing, a lot of it is, of course, subtractive, so it's new, it's unknown, but it's people having the confidence to be able to...
It's all about confidence. This technology allows you to design in a new creative way. It allows you to undertake new performance of parts, but ultimately there are risks attached to that.
But that's education.
It's education, but people do need to realise it comes with no rear view mirror. Once you start to adopt and adapt this technology, you have to go forward with it. It's very difficult to go back and say, we're going to make this in a more conventional way because you've lost that opportunity, but you really shouldn't lose the opportunity to use additive. It's a wonderful process, and it's finally coming to Stone.
John, I feel like we're going to see you on our screens a bit more,
Maybe.
a lot more,
Maybe.
if this has been okay for you. But I think we're going to see you on our screens a lot more because I think you've got a lot to teach industry.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I totally agree as well.
Definitely. Right, I'm going to steal your microphone
Thanks,
from
Lindsay.
you now.
There
Thank
you
you
go.
for your time today. Right, now, I don't know if you know this, but we've done some videos. I'll go. Voila. We've done some videos at Matsuura's headquarters in Colville, Leicestershire, and their facility is quite interesting because it's not like they've got their facility for their main machines, but they've built a facility on the side. But they've not just built it and just put machines in. You've built it as though you're a manufacturer of components. So you've learned everything. You've learned all the setups. What is it you've done? Explain to everyone exactly what you've done there.
Well, that's it. We set the facility up to basically, mimic what people potentially go through in production. So we come up against all the issues that customers may come across during their time in manufacture. And what we've done is basically we're users of the machine, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you've got all the answers, haven't you?
Yeah.
So Joe, tell me a bit about your role there.
So I am AM sales manager for the Midlands and Southern region, and I have been for 6 years now.
Is it good? Is it busy?
Yeah, really good. We've had the best start to a year we've ever had in AM, so it's great start to the year.
I think you're going to, because I think, as John just said, it's confidence. Now, we were talking about user products on the last piece with John, and you've got some here to show me, and these, I think you're pushing the boundaries here, aren't you, of what you can do?
Well, that's it. I mean, the part that you've got there is an AFO, so that's an orthotic device. Every patient is different, so what 3D printing is very good for is bespoke applications. So if you've got a patient's scan data, each patient is different. What we're able to do is map that data onto a generic sort of design and basically make it completely bespoke to the customer. And so that's a product that's actually being sold into the NHS and other sort of clinical.
We're at such an I think you'd agree. We're at such an exciting time because, you know, manufacturing. Previously, you'd think about prototyping when you're talking about these machines, wouldn't you? You'd think about, you know, and then you'd have to go, oh, okay, so how can I explain? You'd have a standard product, and then you'd have the other things that you manufacture to make it that modular. But actually, you're going from the ground up with a totally unique bespoke product.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's it. Most of the stuff we're doing now is production. If you look at our sort of growth rate in the UK versus the rest of Europe, the UK is tracking at 40% growth year on year, which is the highest rate out of any of the region for HP 3D printing. And a lot of that is driven by production. And
so where's your position then? So you sell HP machines,
yeah, but
you're at a point now where you're not just selling ones and twos into companies, are you now, because of the success of what you've done so far?
No, that's it. We've got, I mean, one of our customers has just ordered his 7th machine. And that's in the space of, about 3 years. So
why? Why is that? What's happening?
Well, they're basically a subcontract manufacturer, which is in the 3D world they're called a 3D print bureau. Yeah, and basically they take work from anyone and everyone, and there's just such a high demand for 3D printing now. Replacing lower volume sort of injection molding applications. Maybe applications where they were using CNC, but they didn't actually need the complexity that you get with the CNC finished component, and they've moved to maybe 3D printing as an alternative. I think we're going to see a lot more of these machines on camera, and yourself on camera as well, just the same as John, because I think you'd agree we're at a kind of a change in the marketplace. Yeah, it's definitely a pivotal moment. Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Joe. I'm going to steal that from you. Thanks for going on camera. We've got lots of interviews of people, because I think the thing is here. I mean, just look at this. Just look at this component. This is so cool. Right, Lee, here we go. We're here. There's so much to see. So Lee, tell me what you're doing different in industry then, because we've seen the metal printer, we've talked about HP, but there's what differentiates the printers that you're using?
basically the printers that we're using, the end usable industrial application printers, is what we're looking to do here with our equipment. So it's managing difficult materials that other people don't tend to look at for 3D applications, and it's a way of maximising efficiency, reducing on material wastage, and just producing them in a 3D application.
Am I right in thinking, so, you know, if you say, let's say, like the HP range, that
Yes.
will provide a certain material, so to market, and then other ranges that you have, it's like the Robose over there,
That's right.
They're looking after other materials as well.
Yeah, this is a different material range to the HP. This is classed as a super polymer, so you've got materials that work with extreme heat, corrosion resistance, chemically resistant materials, high temperatures. So that's the differentiator here between them.
You know, it's so cool because, you know, Additive Matsuura, you know your stuff. You've proven it in your own, I'd say, shop or facility. And let's go and have a look at one of the machines, actually, because we've looked at some components. But here's one. Now, this is the smallest.
This is the baby, if you want to call it that. It's yeah, it is. There's two series of machine. You've got the professional and the production series, yes, and this is the smaller one. It's an ideal machine for jigs and fixtures and smaller applications for the high temperature materials such as carbon peak, and carbon PA. So the very, very strong materials. In some respect, they're stronger than like aluminium.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
lightweightness is the thing here as well, and it's just looking at it just from a perspective of different applications in industry. It's just about removing that. And as I say, I'll talk about chemical resistancy, I'll talk about heat resistancy and corrosion resistance. They're starting to use these in applications such as oil and gas because it's just a different way of doing things.
I think it's so exciting. I think there's a lot to learn here.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And it's all about, if I'm right in thinking, user products now. You know, I think previously people would be thinking about prototyping and having tweaks, but now it's products that people can make from there into a bag and
That's
sold.
Right. That's it. But smaller, you go to the larger machine. We've now got up to a meter cubed machine in there. So you're using, for the oil and gas industry, the larger parts. You can see here. Just looking at that, this material is expensive to machine and manufacture with other ways. So by doing this, they're using a minimum amount of material, and then actually they can be post-machined as well.
Oh,
so CNC.
Well, of course.
So the combination between what Matsuura do with additive manufacturing and CNC, it's a win-win.
I think we're going to leave it on that. It's seamless, isn't it? Right, okay. Thank you so much for your time, Lee.
Thank you,
really exciting. I think there's a lot to learn here, and I think Matsuura have really embraced it, and they've got the professionals on it now. Can I just show? Can I just show? Don't you show this? Come here and have a look at this. So I've been informed that this is produced, but in its form. So if I can pick this up, this is produced and printed in its form. So it's not added together, it's produced as one on printed. I mean, this is probably one of the coolest things I've seen at the show so far.
This whole stand is exactly that, isn't it? It's cool. You look at all the parts that have been printed and made. I remember my daughter had a condition called plagia clefeli, I think it was called, where she had to wear a helmet when she was young.
Yes, I went on to a company and did it. Yeah, a case study.
And basically those helmets, in the old days we had to get them moulded and all the rest of it, but now they're just printed. Really
and off, printed in a bag. And I mean, medically, that's a game changer.
Absolutely.
An absolute game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, pair of glasses there.
Oh, I mean, there you go. What do you think? Sorry, poor camera.
I don't think the colour suits.
No, not the colour.
Well,
you know what? If the colour doesn't suit,
I'd probably go orange if I were you.
Orange. But look at this, just the detailing and everything. It's
a different world.
It's a sign. It is. It's a sign of the times, and we've got a lot to learn here, I think. But
Absolutely.
That's exactly what it's all about.
Yeah,
right.
A stand well worth visiting if you're coming here to MACH this week. So let's head back.
Going to head back to the main stand where the machines are.
You can, of course, catch all of our live streams across the MTD CNC channels for the rest of this week here at MAC, and also you can catch up on some of the other streams we've been doing this week, whether you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. In fact, as I said at the start of this, we're actually streaming to 200,000 people when you take the collective audience of all of our channels.
How was Dominic?
He was brilliant, as you would expect. No change there.
No, he is good on camera, isn't he? He just knows his stuff. I was talking to John, but, you know, I don't know if you know this, and the audience do, but John, who I was talking about, came from Dyson as a background. Yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
So the education that he knows and that company, how that grew so quickly, and he was
Is that why the carpet's so clean?
That's why the carpet's so clean. It's not there anymore, mind, is it? But there's exciting times for Matsuura.
Yeah, no, I think from this side of things, the automation is really everything that they talk about with Matsuura. Dominic was great, Paul was great, Mark was great, Simon was great, you know, really good interviews. In fact, I had to go back and apologise to Dom because I think I cut him a bit short because he was really getting into his flow.
Excited.
But there's plenty of videos on our channels from Matsuura, from their customers, and of course, you know, you can catch up on what we've done here.
Right, okay. Well, we'll be back with you. I've got a live podcast later on this
4 o'clock,
afternoon.
you're hosting.
At 4 o'clock, I'm hosting, so do make sure you're watching them.